Hey, this is Bill. This podcast was recorded live at a conference, so there's a lot of background noise. But if you'll fight through it, I promise you, this episode is worth listening to.
My name is Linda Harker, and I am a pastor at McFarlin Memorial United Methodist Church in Norman, Oklahoma. Go OU, sorry. And I am here with the happy, hippie, Jesus crew.
Well done.
Thanks.
You did great.
I practiced it. Oh, well, I knew but I was going to get that in one way or the other. I'm a university setting right in the middle. What can I say?
You're Big 12, we're SEC. It's okay.
It's okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
No rivalry.
There's not very many who would say that, so thanks.
Yeah. I like Oklahoma.
It was an old Southwestern Conference rivalry, if you're old enough to remember. But I graduated from Alabama, so none of this bothers me.
It will bother my folks back home because we are both OU and OSU. So.
So you pull for both teams then?
Yes, but not when OSU is playing.
Okay.
OU all the way.
OU all the way then.
OU all the way, yeah.
That would not be allowed in the state of Alabama. You have to pick a side.
Okay.
Arkansas, we're just glad that they call what we do football.
Uh-huh. I love to watch you all.
You didn't watch last year then, did you?
Well, I think I did watch a couple of games. I might have.
Yeah.
I might have. Caught up.
It's gonna get better. We believe.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's part of being a Christian.
We're people of hope.
Right, exactly.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
I love it.
So,
You're so cute.
what we want to know is, because Jeremy is stuck in his old grouchy ways, and every time I mention this, his head just about explodes. Do you think that Jesus is a hippie?
Well, I certainly can see the resemblance. You know, the whole look, the walking with the sandals, dusty feet. At least what I presume his hair looked like. It certainly, Jeremy, I think he could fit there.
He could be a hippie.
He was a person of love, right? Peace.
I decided this question tells me more about what people think about hippies than they think about Jesus. Because some people were like, no, Jesus didn't do drugs.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not going there.
First off,
you just pushed the button too far.
I still think that's not part of the whole definition of what a hippie is. If that's your only definition of what a hippie
Freedom.
is, then of course not.
Hippie's freedom, right?
Yeah, it's freedom. It's been rising up against the man and, standing up to the
He
middle.
was a great revolutionist.
Yes, he was.
So, being a hippie is about freedom and standing up to the man. Should all Christians be hippies?
Well, I'm not all sure that all Christians are wired to be hippies. I, as you can tell, am not. But I love to associate with people who are. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Christianity should be some level of countercultural, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
Tell me a story. It can be from the Bible or your own life, or you can make up a story about a guy named Bill who's really short.
Okay.
Just any story that will illustrate how you understand Jesus.
This will probably come as a surprise to you, but every Sunday when we bring our children down for the children's sermon, we sing the song, Jesus Loves the Little Children, all the children of the world, red, brown, yellow, black, and white, they are precious in His sight. That song is important to me. One of my favorite scriptures is the one where the children are trying to come to Jesus, and the disciples, they shouldn't bother Him. And I love how Jesus stands up for the children. He says, no, you guys, just back off. Let the children come to me. And the reason that is a story that is near to my heart is because I came to Jesus at a very, very young age. I tell you a little bit about my background. I grew up in a very dysfunctional family, alcoholic, abusive father, that whole thing. The middle child of two sisters, and so I was. My older sister had learning problems, and so I was the older. I took the role of the older, and there was a morning when we were at home. My parents didn't go to church, and my mother had been kicked out of the Catholic Church because she married my father. And so I didn't know anything about church. And we were sitting in the living room, and Dad had been pretty bad binge the night before, and so I always knew what it was going to be like, abuse of my mother. Anyway, so we had this little black and white TV in the corner and turned up the volume, and there was a man on TV, and I didn't know what it was, but it was a pastor, and he was talking about Jesus. And I remember to this day, he just asked, do you want to know someone who loves you? Do you want to know someone who's going to be with you always? And he said his name is Jesus. I didn't know what that was, but when my mother came out and crawled up in her lap, and I said, I want to know Jesus. I want to go to church. And I don't know what happened, but I was sent to live with my grandmother, and she was Catholic, but I couldn't go because I wasn't. And I was probably 6, 7 years old, and just woke up the Sunday morning, decided I was going to go to church, walked around the corner, and there was a Baptist church, and walked up those stairs by myself. That was the time when you could go places by yourself. And sat down on the fourth pew on the left and to worship, and there was a stained glass picture, and it was a picture of this man holding this lamb, and there were children all around him. And I learned later, of course, that was Jesus. And I remember thinking how happy the children looked. And there was also a woman in that church, Mrs. Leggett, who came and sat by me and then introduced herself after church and asked me if I wanted to come to Sunday school. Didn't have a clue what Sunday school was, but I sure liked her. And so I went every Sunday for 5 years by myself, and Mrs. Leggett would always be standing at the top of the stairs in the Baptist Church, wrapping her arms around me and loving me. And so I fell in love with Jesus at that age, and gave my life to him and continued to just work in the church. I mean, I was Baptist, 3 times a week wasn't enough, So, did that. And so that story is very important to me because I say to people that Jesus and the church saved my life. And that's physically and emotionally and spiritually. They clothed me, they fed me, they took care of me, they gave me safe sanctuary. And so for me, growing up, Jesus was, people talk about having a best friend. Well, he was my best friend. And I'm so grateful for that and grateful for the church and so I always believe, that the church has a responsibility for the children. So when I get the privilege to baptize, and bring them into God's family, I mean, it's just like every single time it's like it's a brand new experience for me. So I love it.
Yeah. Well, you're sitting with 2 other clergy that were Baptist too growing up. So,
really?
Yeah.
Southern Baptist?
Yeah, Southern Baptist. And
Ooh,
you know what?
Don't we make great
Methodists?
Methodists?
Yes, we make the best Methodists.
Anytime anybody joins the Methodist Church and comes from the Baptist Church, I say, oh, listen, we know Baptists make the best Methodists. They tithe and they know their Bible.
Yeah.
For me, children's sermons are always the time of great anxiety.
Yeah.
Because my kids, they're 7 and 10 now, but they've kind of grown up coming down for children's time, and they've done some crazy things to me during children's sermons.
I'm sure. Yeah.
There was one Sunday my daughter climbed up in my lap and licked my robe. There was another time I looked over and she had my stole in her mouth and was shaking it like she was a dog.
Like she was a dog? Okay.
And God bless, I don't know if I'm supposed to be a parent or a pastor in that moment.
No. It's hard to tell.
I don't know, and I'm kind of looking and my wife's just like... So for me, we're singing Jesus Loves the Little Children, I'm like, please, just
be nice today. Just be nice. Yes. Just be nice today.
Yeah, I started in ministry as a children's director, so they've got a really special place in my heart. And because of that, I don't like children's church. I want the kids in worship to learn to worship. Well, I say this, but when my son was, I guess he was 7 years old, my wife went out of town, and it was just me and him, and He said, "Don't make me sit out there by myself, Daddy." I said, "Okay, you can sit up. You can be up there with me if you'll be good." "Oh, I'll be good, Daddy. I'll be good." Well, I'm making the announcements. I'm in this little church up in North Arkansas, and I hear this scrape, and another scrape, and another scrape, and then all of a sudden, the chair that he was sitting in is right next to me. He's standing up, leaning over into the microphone as I'm making announcements. I like talking in microphones. Talking in microphones is fun. I like talking in microphones. So I pick him up and I move the chair back and I set him down. And the next thing I hear is, in Sunday school, they had got inflatable globes. He blew it up and he's throwing it at my rear end at that point. So that was the one day I was like, children's church can't come soon enough. You know? And I get a call from my trustee chair later that afternoon. He goes, "Don't you do anything to that boy. He's just being a boy."
Just being a boy, yeah. Oh, I found people love it when our children misbehave.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. They love it a lot more than I love it.
They love it a lot more than when their children misbehave,
Yes.
for sure.
And that's what I tell all of my young parents now. I'm like, don't worry. Everyone else just thinks it's sweet.
Yep.
And they're just happy that kids are running around
Happy
their
that
church.
kids are here. Absolutely.
And they're like, I know. I'm like, I know too. I experienced it. So tell me a story or a place where you see Jesus like working in your church or in your life today.
Okay. Thought about this, and I don't know how long it'll take me to tell this story, so I'm going to try to give you that. So we have a relationship with Pastor Umba and Ngoy Kalangla in Tanzania. They have been there for probably 20 to 25 years. And our church is very involved in mission, and before I came to McFarlin supported them financially. And they came on one of their, tours and visits and said to me, after we'd had our mission meeting, "We would love for you to come to Morogoro, Tanzania, and see what we're doing." And, I'm a good pastor, and I'd say, "Oh, yeah, sure. And, so I'm driving home, I'm thinking, there is no way I'm going to Tanzania. That is on the other side of the world." And so they had given me this dress that the women had made, and, bright, wonderful colors, and so I tucked it in the back of the closet, and every now and then I would see the colors peek out, and it'd go, "Tanzania, right?" And then I'd tuck it back in, and then it'd peek out again, and went to a foundation meeting where they were showing about water wells, the need for water wells in Tanzania, about this miracle well, and so I happened to just show that clip in worship one Sunday, again, not thinking anything, and our people got really excited about what that might look like. So we decided to send a exploration team of 4 of us that went, and the ministry that these 2 pastors are doing in Morogoro is beyond anything that I've seen. I've done many mission trips, underserved countries, and their faithfulness in what they do, sacrifice, just touched my heart. So came back, Michael Andrews, my executive ministry, we decided to do a sermon together and tell the story. At the end of the service, and I had worn the dress underneath my clergy robe, whatever happened, some spirit moved me. Took it off as I'm telling to show them the story or tell them about the dress. And we are singing, it's either Have Thine Own Way or something, the closing hymn. And I honestly have this nudge, and I'm thinking, okay, this cannot be true, because one, it's not me. And there it is again. And so at the end of the service, I say, okay, I am not attached to this dress. If someone wants to buy it for mission, say, I don't know, $5,000-$10,000, you're welcome to buy it, Said it as a joke. Well, by that night, $20,000 had come in. Nobody wanted the dress. They just got inspired by that. So we were able to do water wells, and then took another mission team over there and to work in the school, and so the relationship, we were sent, they wanted us to meet the Maasai tribe in Tupele, and so driving out in the bush, I mean, just crazy. And you get there, and they have this one little room, and they're trying to do schools for these children, and so there must have been 150 little boys and girls, flies all over their face. And so you know what happened to my heart, And I had asked to meet with the women because they're in their original tribal dress, out in just nothing around them. Many of them had been, the children killed by trying to get water by alligators, rapists, things like that, elephants. So I asked to meet with the women, and I asked them, I said, what is it that we can do to help you? And I'm thinking, they're going to say, send us money, send us whatever. And they said, send us beads so we can build our own business to support our community and our church. And I thought, I was just blown away by that. They didn't ask for money. They didn't ask for food. And so we went back, had a sermon planning retreat, and began to think about a sermon series on the Lord's Prayer. And I said, well, it'd be really cool to give people beads that they could pray with all the 6 weeks of Lent. And then so Michael says, well, we ought to get beads, send them to the people in Tanzania, and then pay them for them, and they'll send them back. And I'm thinking, well, that's great in theory. How do you get that many beads? And we needed to have 1,500 sets of these made. So we went with it and sent, 20,000, 30,000 beads to this village in Tupele. And they sent pictures back to us of sitting on the ground, different places, making these little prayer beads. And sent them back. We paid them $3 a piece for each one of these, which was huge for them. And they sent back to us pictures of the goats they had bought to be able to feed their community.
Awesome.
And the connection, it was probably one of the most powerful Lenten seasons that we've had, and to pray, and people engaged in it and still have them. And what was so beautiful about it is they never did anything, the women there or the community, without piling all these things in a big pile and praying over it. Amazing. And so we're continuing our work with them. There's a young man there who wants to go to seminary. He's been given a full ride to Bright. Doesn't have living expenses, and so we have the first year for his expenses. There's another person. Our hope is that we can bring Junie to the States. He wants to get a good seminary education, and send him back to be a leader in that community. God gave him this vision, and we're just trying to help him live that vision. And anybody in Arkansas want to join us? My email is lharker@McFarlinUMC.org. I have said, and again, sometimes you go in mission and people get corrupt, because it's how they know to survive, and I've just seen none of this. And I've said, gosh, if I knew I were going to give my life savings to these people, I would know that they were being used for the kingdom. And then for children, we bought them a school bus because many of their children trying to get to school would be killed because of trying to get to school. And so they have a school bus, and it's not like they have regular roads.
Right.
Yeah.
Was it a 4-wheel drive school bus?
No, I don't know. It should have been. The last time they took us, when we went and they wanted to show us another tribe village they're trying to build a school for, and we had to go over this deep ravine, and the ravine, the bridge over it was just tree logs. And I'm thinking, I'm going to die out here in the bush. But it just, everything rocked back and forth, and we got over it, and no road, just drive in, get out of the bus, and just incredible. Yeah, just incredible.
It seems that the best things in life happen just on the edge of our comfort zone, or beyond where we would be comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
Things I would never think you wanted to do on your own.
Right. Actually, this village in Tupele was started by a woman by the name of Mama Edie, who's a local pastor now. She would drive, take a city bus, and get on a motorcycle and travel for 3 hours to the bush. Started gathering people together under a tree. under a tree. And now they're just hordes of people. Because they love Jesus. I think Jesus would have loved that.
I think Jesus would have been
Even
down
as
with
a
that.
hippie, he would have loved that.
I think Jesus would have been down in the dirt making beads too.
Oh, I do. Oh, I do. I see it. I do.
What I love about that story is it reinforces what study after study shows, that if you want to help a community move out of poverty, empower and educate the women.
Absolutely. And Pastor Umba does a 2-month, 3-month, can't remember, pastor school that he does. And these pastors will travel by foot from all over. And their wives will come and they house them. And I mean, they all just sleep on the floor in one room, you know. For them to get their license to preach, they have to come for 6 years for 2 months in the summer. And so the women work with, because most of the pastors are men, but not all. Actually, the first woman, DS, was there while I was there. I got to give her ordination certificate. And so they teach the women how to sew so that they can go back and make their own products. And then we purchase sewing machines, and so do other churches, to give to the women. So when they leave, they have a sewing machine they take home with them. So it's just a sustaining culture of helping people be independent.
I love that you've invested so deeply in one place.
This is new for us. We had been going to Haiti, and then Haiti had some problems, and so this is where we've landed right now. We just feel like everything just kind of fell into place, that this is where we were being called. That's not the only, we have a lot of local mission that we do as well. In case you can't tell, it's my heart.
Yes.
I'm curious. As someone who grew up in a Baptist church, when did you convert to Methodism, and what was that experience like?
Oh, it's one of my favorite stories, because my husband is a cradle Methodist. And so when we got married, this was the one thing that he said: I will not be a Baptist. I will not be a Baptist. Not that there's anything wrong with Baptists. It just, and so my Baptist church actually told me I was going to hell because I married a Methodist, so I'm in good company with you all. Hopefully I won't see you there, but you never can tell. And anyways, so we just got involved in the Methodist church. He was in the military, and so we traveled around, and I volunteered every place we went. That was that's what I did. And when he retired, he said, well, I guess it's time for you to get a job. And I thought, I wonder what I'm going to do. Didn't have a college education at that time. And 2 kids. And someone said, well, you spend all your time at the church. Why don't you get a job in the church? And I thought, well, who's going to hire me, And I didn't know they were desperate for youth ministers. Anyway, someone introduced me. I was at an annual conference as a delegate, and a pastor in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Ken Tobler, interviewed me, and I really thought that, I'd be a youth minister. Fell in love with it, cried the first time they gave me my check. It's like, really? Somebody's going to pay me to do this? I don't cry anymore. And at least not over getting my paycheck. And so I just, people saw things in me that I couldn't see in myself. You know how it is. I went from youth and did the program, did children, and had a senior pastor who just wouldn't let me go. Made me go take a undergraduate class in English. Told me if I was going to write for the church newsletter, I needed to take English.
Okay.
So I did. Had a panic attack, and he and my husband made me go back slowly to school, and that's all I intended to do was, that's what I was going to do, and God just would not let go. As a woman, it was hard for me to answer that call because I had been so ingrained, that you couldn't. I still remember the first time I preached, and it was, ironically, the title was Stepping Out of Your Comfort Zone, and I can still feel that, just the Spirit take over. Kind of like an out-of-body experience. So I don't know, maybe I really am a hippie.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Maybe so.
You're just on a longer journey to get there.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to be a hippie.
Yeah. Everybody has their own path.
That's right. In God's good time.
In God's good time. That's right.
I'm curious, how has the way you understood the Bible kind of evolved from growing up in a Baptist church where you were told, like, you couldn't be in ministry, you could be called to now? How?
Yeah. Probably 180-degree turn. I grew up in, again, as a Southern Baptist. You did not question the Bible. And, as I think back, that was much easier. It's like, okay, just tell me what I'm supposed to believe, and I'm cool with it. That's what I did. And it was, really, after my first year of seminary almost killed me. Literally. And it didn't destroy my faith. It made it stronger. And I came to understand that, that Scripture is the living Word of God, still interpretable today. That the Spirit still moves. If it's just us interpreting it, then we're in the wrong business. So, and I understand, the importance of placing it in culture and context, and how do we make that relevant for where we are today and who God's calling us to be today.
And wouldn't it just be awful if God had the writers of the Bible write their books and then God just quit talking? Mm-hmm. Wouldn't that be awful?
Yes. It would be.
Yes. I believe God continues to move and go forward. So,
Absolutely.
That's the thing that I would just blew my mind when my wife, because my wife's a cradle Methodist, and brought me in, was I got to ask questions.
I know.
And it was okay.
I know.
that was great.
And there is such freedom in that. And, when I came to the place in seminary, actually, where I became comfortable with the ambiguity of my faith, it was like the whole world opened up for me. And I didn't feel further from God. I felt closer when I came to that place where it was okay to be angry with God. My mother died right before I graduated seminary, actually my last semester, and I was so angry that I quit seminary. Well, for 3 weeks until my professor said, okay, enough of this. You're going to graduate. Get back here. But to know that it was okay to be angry and distant, and it didn't change the fact that God loved me or that I loved God. I just was in that place. And so to be able to give people that freedom through our teaching and preaching, I just think it's authentic, at least in my setting. It feels that way.
It certainly seems to happen in the Bible a lot. I mean, Jeremiah calls God a dirty, rotten liar. The psalmist say all kinds of things.
And Job, when he shook his fist at God. Yeah. And I grew up, again, good Christians, you didn't get angry, and I had a lot to be angry about, but
Elijah was depressed and suicidal. Mm-hmm. Elijah was depressed and suicidal.
Yes. I've learned that people really resonate to those. Yeah. They want to hear those stories. They want to know that they can be real.
Maybe the nicest thing anyone has said to me recently, I did a sermon series around Moses, and we were getting to the end of it, and someone goes, when you talk about Moses, it sounds a lot like real life.
Yeah.
I was like, it kind of is. Like, that was Moses' real life, and we have a lot of the same struggles.
Yes, it is real life. Absolutely.
And I think that helps bring the Bible alive for people once they start saying, oh, well, it was 3,000 years ago, but not much has changed.
There's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah, not much has changed.
That means a lot to me. Yeah. As a pastor, that means a lot, right?
Did you see the movie The Apostle with Robert Duvall?
No.
There's a great scene in there where they hear him just yelling, and he's yelling at God. It's a fantastic scene.
Yeah.
And I'll say, the stories make me ask different questions. Words like inerrant or literal and all this stuff, that's out the window. It's like, God was working in these people's lives in the same way that God was working in mine, and they're having the same questions and struggles I had. It changes the story and the entire questions you ask. It's like I don't care about any of those questions anymore. I care about, holy cow, I have the same issue that Moses does with control and anger.
Why it's the living Word of God.
Yes. Right? Let's just hope we don't all have the same issues that David had.
True.
So, Bill, how has your life changed? Like, you had your conversion from Southern Baptist, so what was that like for you?
For me, it was, like I said, the biggest thing that really struck me immediately was that I could ask questions. And I'm one of these people that loves to ask questions. I can remember asking my youth director, so when Cain kills Abel, he goes, yeah, where are all those other people come from? It's like, I said, do you think that might have been evolution? No. Well, that's a legitimate question. Where did they come from?
And I love hearing the question. Like we have 2 grandchildren, and I have one of my grandchildren he seems to be a deep thinker, and just out of the blue, he'll ask questions. And one evening they were at our house, and he asked me, he says, I have a really important question about God. And I said, okay, this could be a great conversation. And he says, does God pee? I said, I think you should ask your mother that question.
Kenneth here was telling me the other day he was having a conversation with his youth group, and one of them goes, when Jesus was here, he pooped.
It's like,
and
he was human.
And he was a baby, he had dirty diapers.
Yeah, we forget that part.
Yeah, we forget that
part, that he was human.
That's such a vital part of our faith, because what Jesus teaches us to do is to be human on the best level. I mean, it's all about being human.
Yes. I always say when the church is at the best, we are at our best. There's nothing better. And when we're not, there's nothing worse.
Amen to that.
Well, if the Bible tells me anything, it's that we screw up a lot and always have, and somehow God calls us back.
Yes.
And God calls the screw-ups. God calls the screw-ups. That's what's wonderful.
Isn't that encouraging?
Yes. Yes. It made me feel like it was okay to answer the call.
I think I could recital the entire Old Testament as God is that parent saying, I'm only going to give you one more chance. Again and again and again.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, God...
I am that parent. I'm like, this is your last chance.
Okay, one more.
Yeah.
One more chance.
I mean, the whole Old Testament is God living out that, how often should I forgive my brother? 7 times 70. Or, in other words, as many times as it takes.
You don't get to quit it.
Yes.
190.
Unfortunately. On some of my days, though, I get close. I'm done. This is it.
You've crossed the line.
You have. But anyway.
It gets distracting because here we are, we're at an annual conference, and there's people roaming around, and they see our giant logo, and they're like, did Jesus really look like that? No, it's a cartoon.
So not everyone from my church listens, but some of them do. And every now and then one of them will come up to me, they're like, can I see a picture of Bill? And I go, sure. And I show them a picture of Bill, and they go, he looks exactly like I thought he would.
I can't remember which one of you contacted me first.
That was Jeremy. I said, these are intelligent people, Jeremy, so I need you to send the email.
It's true. I'm the brains and he's the editing power.
Okay.
Or I don't know.
It's a good partnership.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Or as my DS calls us, the perfect ensemble.
You can get up.
She's like,
I love it.
I love your podcast. You two are just funny. You're like an odd couple.
Is this your first ordination service you'll preach? Not the first one you've been to, the first one you preach? Oh, are you excited?
I am.
What's your topic tonight? I mean, Friday night. Sorry.
Scared me there. Well, the title is A Defining Moment. And I have this belief that how we live our life and the power of Christ to work in and through us can change lives. That can change the world. Because my life has changed by Mrs. Leggett, who introduced me to Jesus. And my life has changed by the church. And I owe my life to the church. And I have loved ordination. Every ordination service. I I've never missed one. And when I chaired the Board of Ordained Ministry, getting to be up close and personal was pretty awesome. I'm just excited to be here again.
It's going to be good.
Well, I feel blessed. And humbled to be asked so.
So there's one question that we kind of ask all of our guests. What's saving your soul right now? What's feeding your soul right now? However you want to word that doesn't make your Southern Baptist roots uncomfortable.
Right. I do have to tell you, sometimes people in my church will say, I think your Southern Baptist roots were showing in that sermon today. And I'm like, oops, sorry. So the last year and a half has been a hard year. Personally, with some family stuff going on, and just heartbreaking things that, you have a plan for your life, and you think you know what it's going to be, and when all of that changes, you got to remember what I always know, and that's God is faithful, God is present. And so there are two things that I do when I have these times, and thankfully, not often, but I go back and I immerse myself in the Psalms, and they become my source of strength and hope and authenticity in the middle of whatever's going on. I like to do the Lectio Divina with them and see how God's speaking to me, and that gives me that feeds my soul, as well as an accountability partner that I have where we pray together every week, and mission work. This new Sunday school class that I'm teaching, a young marriage class that, I could see all these young people out there in the congregation, just didn't know how to get to them. So I started this class, and it's just awesome. They come, they're so dedicated, they want to be community, and they're doing the work at it, making community, and that feeds my soul. So
all those things.
Yeah.
That's so much more spiritual than Jeremy's answer, which is to get in his bubble bath every night.
His bubble bath.
And play with his rubber ducky.
Well, okay, I just had, never mind.
It was making a weird joke, but that actually sounds so nice.
Rubber duckies, I don't know, whatever.
What was that Friends episode where Chandler, loves baths, and he's like, I'm going to need a bigger ship?
See, I was thinking Bert and Ernie, and Ernie with his rubber ducky. Rubber ducky, you're the one.
Yeah. See, I can see that you sound just...
Yeah.
I'll do voices.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like 3.
3? Do you do the bishop's voice?
No.
You would never do that, would you?
Not while he's still bishop.
And definitely not on a podcast.
Someone could listen to it over and over and say, hey, you got that wrong.
Yeah.
That sounds nothing like me, right?
Sometimes things, I gotta tell myself, if you say that, you can never get it back.
Right.
Because Bill will not edit it out if I say it.
Exactly. That's why Bill does all the work. He's trying to save his career at mine's expense.
Yes. You're expendable, this is not.
Yeah.
I can see how you would feel that way. Yeah. I mean, if the roles were reversed.
I've cultivated my whole look to avoid ever being cursed by running for bishop. Yeah.
No one thinks that.
It's a new day.
Yeah.
There is no bishop. There is no one way to look at Scripture.
Oh man, I got to come up with a whole new strategy then.
There's a new day coming.
Bill doesn't even own a tie.
No joke.
No, I own ties. They're for weddings and funerals.
So people who come to your church, know that you're going to pray that they're not going to die.
Yes.
Because you'd have to wear a tie.
Exactly.
Good. See, that's good. That's good strategy.
Yeah,
and Bill preaches barefoot. Yeah. He's that guy.
I am that guy. Are you? Awesome. She's that lady.
But I do that.
You just feel more connected, don't you?
Well, for me, it goes back to Moses.
Me too.
And he said, take off your shoes. You're standing on holy ground. And, I don't like to make a big deal about it because I think it's very personal. And I remember when I was sent to McFarlin, which is a university setting, and I thought, I wrestled. Do I be me? Do I be the person God called me to be? And it was like, I have to.
I think the answer is always yes. Yes. Particularly in this age where authenticity seems to be the word that everyone wants.
Yeah. Well, and people think it's because my feet hurt, and I don't wear heels. It's nothing to do with that.
No, that's why Bill does it.
Yeah. And they joke and they say, we always know when you're about a minute through with your sermon because you get an inch and a half taller.
No.
Because my shoes.
You put your shoes back on.
In the contemporary service, I don't wear the shoes at all for the whole service.
Yeah.
In the traditional service, I slide my sandals off right before I start preaching.
Yeah. I do the same.
Because I don't want anybody in the traditional service having a heart attack and dying.
Yeah.
Because it could happen.
And then you'd have to wear a tie.
And I'd have to wear a tie, exactly. It has been awesome having you on.
Well, thank you.
If people want to learn more about you and your church, how can they do that?
Well, we can go to our website, www.McFarlin, and that's McFarlin.unc.org.
We will add
Bill will put that in the show notes, so it's good that you spelled it slowly for him.
MC. Repeat it, Bill. McFarlin. Very good. We even had the same tone.
Yes. We're in sync.
It's because you both preach barefoot.
Yes, it is.
There's like a connection.
Yes, there is.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure.